Welcome to ETN Community Spotlight, where we shine the light on a local nonprofit organization. I'm Derrick Silas. Join me as we talk to today's special guest. Matt, tell us about the history and purpose of Hope Outreach Ministries.
Okay, Derrick. Well, Hope Outreach started in about 1991. It kind of started out of somebody's garage. They had some extra things and they decided if they sold those, they could actually use that to help other people in need. And it's just really kind of worked its way up through a lot of sacrifice and people's desire to serve others. It's worked its way up into the ministry that it is today. I've been fortunate enough to be a part of Hope Outreach since 2010 and really believe in the ministries and the purpose, the mission statement of Hope Outreach Ministries, which is to minister the felt love of Jesus Christ to the needs of our community in order to empower people to responsible living. What we do at Hope Outreach is really try to kind of goes along with the philosophy of give a man a fish, you feed him for a day, teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. And it really is one of those things where if you can help people learn to stand on their own 2 feet, then they're much more apt to be successful than if you just give them what they need today and then don't worry about anything.
Okay. So what is your role in the organization from day to day?
I am the Executive Director of Hope Outreach Ministries, and I provide oversight of all the ministries, and we have about 40 staff members encompassing all of the ministries that we have. We have the Thrift store ministry, the parenting ministry, our community care ministry, our homeless ministry, and also our transitional housing ministry. So we have a board of directors, and I answer to the board of directors, and I carry out policy and help set policy with the board and also just provide the oversight and the direction that's needed day to day.
Okay. Can you tell me a little about the 5 ministries that you have?
Sure. The first one I'll start with is the Thrift store ministry, which most people think of when they think of Hope Outreach. And if somebody were to say, hey, we're with Hope Outreach, and they'll say, oh yeah, Hope Outreach, you guys do a lot of good. And I say, oh wait, what do you think we do? I don't know, but you do a lot of good there, and and we appreciate that thought. But with the Thrift store ministry, it truly is the main generator of funds for the rest of our ministries. It provides about 90% of the funding for all of the ministries that we have, which is a really good thing because we're not out constantly asking people for money, and the directors and the people doing ministry aren't constantly out trying to raise funds, which if you talk to a lot of nonprofit folks, especially even outside of Oklahoma, a lot of their job entails trying to raise money, and that's what they're working on. But along with it providing the funding needed for the other ministries, it also is an employment ministry. Out of about the 30 employees that we currently have at Hope Outreach in the Thrift store and the warehouse, we have probably about 5 or 6 of them who have been previously incarcerated, so we're giving them an opportunity to get back into the employment market. We have about 5 or 6 who have and are dealing with breaking away from addiction of some type. We have one that came to us out of an abusive situation. We have a couple who've come to us when they were homeless, and now they have a job and a place to stay through working. Again, it's that empowerment type of thing. And then we have some others who have some different physical difficulties, and we provide some help with that as they try to get back into a functioning job. So, and then of course we just have other people too. Anyone who doesn't have those is eligible to work as well. But we do give people opportunity for employment where they may not get it otherwise. So that's the Thrift store ministry. The Thrift store also is an area where we can plug in with our community care ministry. What happens with our community care ministry is that the people, if they come in and they are short on their electric bill. Our old director of the homeless ministry used to say they have more month than they have paycheck. And that happens to people sometimes, and they get a shut-off notice or something like that. And it's too hard to try to go out and get a second job. They've asked family, friends, they've exhausted those resources. They can come to us, and we'll put them to work in our thrift store, our warehouse for so many hours, and then they'll work towards a voucher, and we'll give them a voucher or we'll pay that bill for them. That way it enables them to stay in their house, and also they earned what they just received. So we didn't give them anything. They actually earned it to be able to stay in their house and stay independent. And that's really what we want, is people to be independent, not dependent. Also, within the same building as our community care ministry, we have our homeless day center, and that's not an overnight facility. Some people think that it is, especially when they see us in the phone book or something from outside of town, but it really provides opportunity for people if they don't have a place to stay during the day, especially in the winter or the summer when the weather is extremely hot or extremely cold. It gives them a place to be during the day. They can come in and get a warm cup of coffee in the wintertime or a cool drink in the summertime. As well with that is they can get showered. We have shower facilities for both men and women, and they can get cleaned up, which if you've ever been dirty and down, not feeling good, a good shower makes you feel like $1,000,000. And while they're doing that, we can also let them wash a backpack full of clothes. It's not a free laundry service for all of Enid, but for somebody who's down on their luck, they can come in and wash, a couple outfits of clothes, get themselves cleaned up. And then also we have the opportunity for them to be able to use our phone number there as their phone number for contact information, and they can also use our address there for their mailing address. So when you put those things together, if somebody's down and they can't get a job, if they can't get cleaned up, if they can't get their clothes cleaned up, if they can't get contacted, it's going to be very difficult to get a job. So when you put those together, it's an opportunity for them to be able to get back up on their feet and get a job, get going again. And we've been able to see quite a few people be able to do that over my time there at least. And kind of like when we were talking a little bit about off camera is one of the things that we do in that building as well is we connect people with other resources. There are a lot of other nonprofits here in Enid where we can't duplicate every service. We don't want to try, but they're doing a great job of it so we can get people plugged in and get them connected. And some of the other nonprofits do the same thing for us. They send them to us if they know there's a need. So it's a really great hub for people who are in that situation. And we also have our parenting ministry, which is over on 815 Broadway. And that is designed, again, with the idea of empowering people to responsible living. The hinge of that program is called the Earn While You Learn program. And it's designed for people who are having children, or if they have children already and they want to be better parents, or they want to break that poor parenting cycle. Because it's one of those ideas that if nobody's taught you something, then how are you supposed to know? And if you've come from a difficult family situation where your parents may not have parented very well, then that's just going to continue on and on. And especially when we see younger girls having babies and single situations like that, it just continues to duplicate itself and cycle through over and over. So the idea is to break that cycle through education. And it's called the Earn While You Learn program. So if they become a client and it's completely free of charge, all of our services are free of charge in those ministries, then they get matched up with a mentor, a volunteer Christian mentor who will take them through professionally taught lessons on DVD. And as they go through the lessons, they actually earn mommy dollars or daddy bucks. It can be a couple, it can be a guy, it can be a girl. We've had grandparents who have to take on the mantle of parenting again, and they come in and they'll need to take some classes. So they get mentored through, and so as they're actually going through these lessons, as they complete them, they actually get these points or mommy dollars or daddy bucks, and then they get to spend them in our mommy store, where they can buy anything from diapers all the way through cribs and cradles. So as long as they're saving up their money that they're earning by going through the program, they're getting educated and they're getting the items they need for that baby so that it'll be safe, healthy, and happy when they have it home. And of course, it can be as well, we're a resource center as well. So you may have a 15-year-old and you really don't need diapers or anything else, but you're having difficulty with discipline or them not doing your homework. We probably have a lesson for that. So you can just come on in, watch the lesson. You don't need a mentor or anything else. We'll be glad to talk with you. But as long as you don't take the curriculum out of the building, you're welcome to use it. You don't have to be a client or anything. And again, free of charge. So, and then we also have our Transitional Housing Ministry, which we started just in October. And what we found is, especially through the Thrift store and through a lot of the other ministries, the homeless ministry, community cares, we found a lot of people, as they transition out from a justice-involved situation, previous incarceration, or possibly just getting ready to go in and this is their last chance to change, people truly want to change. They want to get away from the old lifestyle, and they realize that the Lord is the way to go and to follow His way. And they make that decision. But then they run into all the barriers of court costs and court fines that have racked up into the thousands of dollars. as I mentioned before, they have a very difficult time getting a job for a lot of them because there's a little box on a lot of applications that say, you know, check here if you've had a felony. And a lot of those applications go into a different stack than the other applications. So a lot of them have a difficult time getting a job, especially a decent paying job. And when they finally get a job, if they're able to, then instantly those court costs and court fines need to be paid. A lot of them, if they've been in an incarceration situation, they may have child support that needs to be paid, but it instantly starts getting taken out. So by the time they get their paycheck, they have very, very little to live on. They've made a decision to change their life and to live the right way, but they end up having very little to live on, and they end up having to go back and to the environment and to the people who might embrace them and take them in, which kind of helped them get into the situation they were in to begin with. So they end up falling back into the same situations that they had before. It's called recidivism. When somebody comes out of imprisonment and then they go back into prison, then that's recidivism. And we have a huge recidivism rate here in Oklahoma. It's terrible. So what we found is, through research, is that if a program is offered, it will cut the recidivism rate by 30%. If that recidivism rate is, or if that program is faith-based, it cuts it by another 30%. So that's, with a little rough math, about 60% better an opportunity if they go through a transitional program, faith-based transitional program, than if they were just left on their own. So that supportive housing is very important. So those are kind of the ministries that we have going at Hope Outreach at this time.
Okay. Now quickly, can you tell me how you can get others involved?
Yeah, one great way, as I mentioned before, is the parenting ministry. We have quite a few clients there, and we constantly have a waiting list of people wanting to get on there. What really limits us on that is our number of mentors. So we're asking people, Christian mentors, to come in and give an hour a week. Is a great way to be able to volunteer some time. You dedicate the time that you can do it, and then they'll match you up with a client and match up that time to where you can bond and help facilitate that. Another great way is, with the thrift store, as I said before, it's 90% of our funding. So those items that you're done with, you don't have room for anymore, you don't want to store anymore, drop them off at our thrift store, and we're able to turn those into a viable cash that we can then use for our other ministries and be able to touch and help people.
For those that don't know where it's located, can you give us the address of the thrift store?
Yeah, the thrift store is at 215 South Van Buren. So it's right on Van Buren, and donations can be accepted in the alleyway right by the thrift store.
And so the best way to contact you or contribute to the organization would just to become there, or? To
come there, or they can call 237-4673 if they have any questions. They can visit us on our website, www.hopeoutreach.org. Or again, they could just stop by our offices, which are at the thrift store building, and we'd be more than happy to talk with them and help them plug in some way. And then also the other thing is just financial donations are always really good. When we have items donated, it's fantastic, but it takes people and time and resources to turn those donated items into money. But if somebody just donates money, it goes straight to the ministries of Hope Outreach and right to being able to help people. Everything that we get at Hope Outreach, again, nonprofit, doesn't mean that you don't try to make money. We try to make money in order to facilitate ministry. Okay. So the idea of people donating, it goes right back to the people in this community.
Okay. Well, thank you, Matt, for joining me today.
Thank you.
And thank you.
Thank you very much.